Hi, Jennifer Savage, Surfrider Foundation. Surfrider Foundation supports the inclusion of environmental justice considerations throughout the Coastal Commission's decision-making process and applauds staff for their efforts so far. As an organization dedicated to the protection of the state's ocean, beaches, and waves, we believe evaluating projects with environmental justice in mind is critical to ensuring beach access, coastal preservation, and clean water for all people who live in and visit California. Many of our 20 California chapters have long relationships with groups dedicated to outdoor recreation and environmental justice. One cannot work very long on these issues without quickly recognizing the disparities that exist within our political structure and our social fabric. We know that to fulfill the right of all people to enjoy a clean and healthy coast, we must include addressing the foundational differences that have, so far, prevented access and environmental equity. To that end, we request that you heed the voices of the people whose lives have been dedicated to environmental justice. You will note in your correspondence comments from Azul on broad and specific elements of the EJ policy, as well as comments specific to planning and permitting provisions. We would like to see the Commission incorporate and otherwise address those concerns and suggestions. You'll also see in your correspondence that the Central Coast Alliance United for a Sustainable Economy, PAUSE, has suggested the Commission slow down the adoption process and create a longer timeline for community engagement, policy development, approval, and implementation. It is so critical to get this environmental justice policy right. We therefore echo that request and encourage you to consider delaying adoption until the draft policy has the wide participation and support of the communities on whose behalf it is being created. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcela?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Marcela Gutierrez Graulinch. I'm the founder and director of Azul. We're an environmental justice organization working with Latinx communities to protect our coasts and oceans. Through our work, we have seen firsthand the problems that communities of color in our state face to enjoy our world-class beaches. While the Coastal Act is with reason lauded as a groundbreaking access law, it unfortunately has not worked equally for all Californians. This is why in 2006, with City Project, Azul co-sponsored Assembly Bill 2616 with Assemblymember Burke, which sought to provide communities of color with greater representation by explicitly referring to state civil rights law, a statutory definition of environmental justice, and the appointment of a commissioner experienced in and dedicated to environmental justice. The resulting law is an assertive endorsement of coastal justice by our state legislature and our governor to achieve this. You are now faced with the task of crafting policy that will be the guide by which the Coastal Commission and local governments will evaluate environmental justice impacts when approving or reviewing coastal development permits. The current draft is mostly devoid of enforcement details and in need of further work. And thus, we feel that it's not really ready for adoption at the December meeting. We encourage the Commission to allow enough time to incorporate the wealth of knowledge included in the comments you will receive. And for this, you could actually take note of the process that's being followed by the State Lands Commission to renew their environmental justice policy, which has a working group with experts that are coming together to make the recommendations. In this context, really, the Commission's process to develop, the Coastal Commission's process to develop the environmental justice policy requires further development. To also echo cause, Central Coast Alliance United for a Sustainable Economy, in their comments, they say that the policy could benefit from greater specificity and substance in regards to how regular decision-making processes at the Coastal Commission will change as a result of this policy. We have heard now about how this could possibly be part of the strategic plan, and probably that's something that needs to be explored more. But at the time, we would like to extend our thanks to the staff for their work developing this policy draft, and hopefully we will. We ask that you please allow for more time to make sure that this policy addresses the lack of details on implementation and enforcement, and so that we can have this time develop that, so that we can get to a comprehensive and well regarded policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.